Well, guys, I hope this is coming through loud and clear. I'm just patching in Trader Cobb. And let me know if you guys can hear this, and I'll just send Cobb the link to join. And we're going to talk about altcoins, whether or not it's alt season. So get those questions ready. And if you're rewatching this later, guys, you might want to fast forward just a minute or two. Crypto Roger, Craig, g'day Nick, hey Graham, hey Scott. I hope it's all going well for you guys, and smash that like button, share this video around. We're going to talk about whether or not this Bitcoin rally can continue higher. I'm working on a couple of special videos, what to do if you feel you've missed the dip. Put in perspective the longer journey that we're hopefully about to go on together for the next market cycle, whether that be a year or 4 years, whatever that may be. But here we can see Bitcoin dominance. This is a 15-minute chart, and it's just dropped pretty sharply there with some people taking profits. We've got the total market cap, which initially started to pull back, and I actually thought that this was not a good sign, that there was money leaving the crypto space, but then it's just rocketed higher. And finally, the altcoin market cap. Again, we've been waiting for alt season to start, and it's just jumped a couple of $1 billion there. So I hope that all makes sense to you guys. That's what we're going to go over again in detail today. Cobb is going to show us a few of his favorite charts. But while we're waiting for him, I might just go over my, total analysis on what we're looking at in the crypto market. So let's go out to that daily chart. And I do talk about this a little bit at the end of my weekly updates. And there's been a little bit of divergence on the daily a couple of times. And don't worry about these other lines there from other time frames. But basically, we've had right-hand translations since we had this, what we're hoping to be the bottom back here, where for each of these cycles, we sort of, we go up and we go down for a length of it. But since we sort of revisited this double bottom Adam and Eve pattern, if you will, we're up and down and we're just stair-stepping higher. And these patterns aren't always perfect, but they can certainly give us a fairly good idea, as they did here, when markets are going to bottom and maybe start to see new money flow in. Now, this next date isn't until the 13th of May. So even though we've had a big run up in price, a lot of people don't consider time. And I actually think that time is one of the most important metrics to look at. Time is one of the only things in the trading world that is constant, particularly in crypto, where there's no holidays or anything like that. So the fact that we can get a feel for the rhythm of the market, when it's going to stair-step higher and pull back, and as long as this bracket has time to go higher before we're expecting a bit of a pullback shortly, and that certainly makes sense because we've had such a strong run. In terms of the RSI, every time we've should have had a decent pullback, or if the market was going to pull back, it hasn't really. It's had these pretty healthy pullbacks into the moving averages. I've got mine set on 12 and 26 on the EMA, but other traders have got 10 and 20, whatever it may be. Very, very similar. The numbers aren't going to be that much different if you're using, 10 or 12. That's not the point. Everyone has their own style, and the fact is that there's buyers stepping in using their own techniques, whether it's moving averages, fib retracements, Elliott wave. The momentum has shifted from overall selling to overall buying. And, the volume was dropping off a little bit here, but it's been pretty healthy. It's picked up again now. So guys, let me know what you're thinking. But this was the big zone. This number, obviously on the non-Tether exchanges, everywhere from 6,000 to 6,500. So we're right in there now, and we're waiting to see whether there's a dump and lots of selling, or if it does what it's done every time recently and really just has a little shallow retrace pretty healthily. Now, I'm just going to turn back on the longs. This is my blue line here. That's pretty low in the scheme of things, 18,000. And the shorts. This is what we've been watching really closely. 32,000 it's been hovering around. And every time the market goes up, the shorts pile in. So this is not something that we trade on solely, but it's another metric that we look at to say, hey, if this continues higher, these guys are going to be trapped. A lot of them have got in, since back here at far, far lower prices, and they're going to be really underwater. So this squeeze could continue. And I would love to see a squeeze, right through this area that everyone has been worried about, slice it like butter, get up to 6,700 or 7,000, and then pull back into this area as support. So that would be the perfect scenario now. I'm just going to see if Craig's trying to join this stream. Let him in. We'll let him in. Hello, Craig.
G'day, mate. How are you?
Good. I'm just going to get my headphones so that people at home don't have echo.
Sure.
And we'll be sorted. Thanks for coming at such short notice.
No, mate, all good. Love it.
And people can't hear you, so I'll turn it up so you can get talking while I sort these out. There you go.
So can they hear me or what? You saying they can't hear me or?
The joys of doing live streams. Can you hear me loud and clear?
I can, yeah.
Keep talking. Perfect.
Unique New York.
I've got you. I hope they've all got you at home as well.
Good.
Smash those likes, guys. Share this video around. Let us know what questions you want. Don't forget, Bitcoin is still not trending up. What time frame do you mean there, Jack? So I'll have a look, keep one eye on these questions. But Craig, you had plenty you want to talk about because you believe the market is in an uptrend.
Yeah, mate. Look, I won't sound excited because that's an emotion. Look, I do get pumped when I have good trades. The last 2 weeks, last week I took XRP USD, stopped out, took Euro. I keep saying Euro. When I think of Ethereum, I think of Euro because I'm used to trading foreign exchange. Ethereum US dollar, which gained back the losses of XRP and put me in profit. So it's been a really, patient period of time lately. This week, one trade Zen against BTC. But right now, I'm really loving what I'm seeing on the charts because we've got some good, strong trends and a couple of things around the $6,000 mark that I wanted to talk to you and your audience about.
Can you bring those charts up now? I've just gone over,
sure,
my overall picture, where we are, what's happened since the bottom, and on my end, I'll share my charts with you as well in a second. But I want to look at the dominance and altcoins to see if we're entering alt season. Can
you see my charts there, mate?
Yes, that's all good.
All right, so let me start first of all on the lower time frame. So let's go to the 15-minute. What really sort of impressed me, I'm going to move back to this period of time through here. If first things first, if you're going to be somebody who's going to trade against the market, i.e., you're looking at counter trend trading, the way I was taught to do it, and the way many counter trend traders will do it, is they stagger orders. So let's say that I wanted to be short Bitcoin, right? I may have my first order at short Bitcoin at 6,000. I may have my first order at 5975, 5985, 5995, 5999, right? So I'll scale into a position. I might have a $100 stop or a $50 stop or whatever my strategy would suggest at that time. Now, I was watching as we came towards 6,000. If you note here, the high of this candle, I'm talking about the BitMix chart here, because much more in line with the actual price than Bitfinex. And BitMix is a chart that I can trade with leverage. So I'll work with the BitMix chart. You see here, the high was 5965. Now, that pullback, I don't see that pullback as being a order triggered pullback. It was extended, it pulled back, it consolidated. The next one was 5969. Now that might have been the first orders to fill at the 5970 level, $1 below, boom, away we go, right? We saw a sell-off, buyers came back. Now what you see here, this was the Binance hack episode. So a couple of $100, nothing major. I think about $240, $300, about that. It sold off. Then the market came back and it kept coming back and it kept coming back and it kept coming back. The next high in price was 5985, which to me would be a level if you were to stagger your orders to be shorting Bitcoin, whether you stop at 6,050 or 100 or whatever it might be. When I watch this, So it pulled back hard, and it happened really, really quickly too, by the way. And then the buyers came straight back in. Now, I've been talking about the fact that when the sellers come in, the buyers have re-entered very hard and fast for about a month now. And it's not that I'm trying to say what has. Like, I'm not predicting. I'm commentating my thoughts around what has happened. And what has happened has given me strength that we will test 6,000. If anyone listens to my podcast, I've been saying 6,000 for a while. Now, we pushed up through 6,000. Now, here's the really, really interesting part for me. As we pushed up to 6,000, look at this. There is 6,000 right about there, right? Look at how little selling activity occurred. None. Now, if I was to be somebody, I mean, if you look at crypto Twitter, you look at YouTube videos, you look at all these different things, a lot of people have been saying since about 5,000 that we pull back to 4,200 to 3,200, all these major pullbacks. Now, look, I'm not someone who's going to say, I'm right, you're wrong. It's not about that. It's about understanding what's going on. Now, you might be right, person who thinks it's going to go to 4,000. I might be wrong. I can't be wrong because I'm not either side of it. I just trade trends. The way we held above 6,000, look at this. We kept holding, went a little bit below. The second we went below, we went above again. And then we kept on pushing and pushing and pushing. So the lack of sell orders around that key figure of 6,000 really captured my attention. Now, on the 2 hour, I was watching this yesterday, and I went live yesterday, and I talked about, pull back to 6,000. I was trying to find a low time frame entry off of 6,000. It just didn't happen. But look at this. If I was to draw a line in here and just go double click and make that 6,000, oops, not 96,000. That's 6,000 right there. Price pulled straight back into there, tested, and then ran from there. The very fact that we had no resistance at 6,000 for major selling, but evidence supports the fact that we had a lot of support at 6,000 and now we've pushed on. For me, thinking about the way I understand markets and the way that traders trade markets, both trend following and counter trend, I see 6,000 is now becoming something of relative insignificance. Now, the reason that's important, and I'll wrap it up here, Alex, is let's have a look at this. Again, I'll draw that in. I'll make it 6,000 on the nose. There was no significant, it wasn't an exact level of support, right? We'd seen, it broke down. Yes, it tested, but these ones didn't quite get there. 6,000, however, is a round number. It's a psychological number for traders, but it didn't act as that. The market, this is the strongest level, apart from 4,200 back here, or 4,178, whatever the number is. Apart from that level through here that we saw earlier in the year, this was our most significant level to break or fail at. We did not fail that. We broke, and we've broken strong. And the way that we've broken is like 3.51 into 6,000, then 3.52. Currently, today, we're at 1.85%. It says a lot to me. Now, I'm not saying it won't pull back, because as we move away from these averages, it would have a likelihood of pulling back. But just the way, Alex, that this market just denied any selling activity around 6,000, it really was a statement to me.
Do you want to just go back? Oh, you're right. We'll go back to it in a second. But as you said, that wasn't a specific level. It was a bit of a range. So everywhere up to 6,500. It did spend a lot of time going sideways. A lot of volume was traded there. So we still needed to close up here on these higher time frames, the 4 hour, the daily, ideally the weekly. But I think if we pull up your weekly chart in just a sec as well, there's still a lot of room to pull back, because that's the number one question I'm getting now. What do you do if you miss the bottom? Now, hopefully everyone that's been watching the channel for a while is bullish on crypto long term, and they have some sort of holdings. So you've got some sort of exposure, guys. Don't feel like you're missing out altogether. Yeah. If you're owning crypto, it's going up in price. But I might just see if I can share my screen for you now.
Yeah.
Can you see that?
I can't.
Okay, that's better.
Hang on, here it is. Yep.
Cool. So guys, this is the Bitcoin dominance chart, and it's really climbed lately from, that's the 15-minute chart. Let's just zoom out a little bit. But it's climbed back up to 56, 57%. And that's been pretty sharp, just in the last few weeks. Now, if we go to the total market cap, let's go back to the daily on that as well. We can see that that's been growing since the lows, but a lot of that has been Bitcoin, and everyone has been wondering, what are altcoins doing? Now, if we actually look at the altcoin total market cap, and thanks to Josh in our group that pointed this out the other day, since the beginning of April, they've been in a downtrend. Money has not been going into altcoins. So lately that's picked up a little bit today, just in the last few hours. But a lot of people are worried, where's this alt season? Is it coming? Now, total market cap is starting to pick up. That's a good sign. I'll stop sharing now. But I don't think it's going to be that easy. I think a lot of people have just got their bags, dozens of altcoins, and they're just hoping and thinking that it's going to go up when Bitcoin goes up. So what we might be seeing is the market maturing, which is great. Only the good projects are going up. And I think you might want to bring this up in a second as well, but Litecoin, Cardano, a few of these large cap altcoins that are on BitMix and Bitfinex, where the big whales like to play, they jumped. As soon as Bitcoin had a bit of profit taking, they really jumped. So that's positive signs and maybe worrying signs if you haven't done your research and you're just holding random coins and just hoping it's going to be dragged up by Bitcoin.
It's visibility, Alex. In my view, and look, you have to, in such an early stage emerging market, you got to consider a few things. Now, I've been trading for a long time. I've been through booms. I've been through busts. The GFC was my biggest bust. That was my .com, if you will. But it wasn't .com in the sense it was an emerging market. It was just a complete and utter destruction of the entire market trusted system. If you look, the way I think about it, mate, is this. If you've got someone who's sort of 55 and over or 50 and over, right? They've got more money, yeah? They watched Bitcoin go through its astronomical rise in 2017. And as it was pumping, they sat there and they looked at that and went, well, I've seen this before, the .com. Now, I know a lot of people, I'm talking a lot of people that made hundreds of thousands, if not millions, during the .com boom and ended up coming out of it with a loss. All right. So these are the same people that are probably our age, Alex, right? If you think about .com 2000, right? Or if they were there for the first one, 96 boom bust, and the from there back to 2000, then bust again. We're talking about people that are roughly our age, yeah? Right now, as we are in this market as it stands. You fast forward our age to 20 years and you go, okay, well, we haven't seen anything quite so substantial as far as volatility and movement as crypto. Now, these are the same people that are now go, well, once bitten, twice shy. So in 2017, as that market went, sky high, they were like, okay, I'm not going to fall for this again. And they watched it.
100%.
Now, these people have more capital to play with. These are seasoned investors. These are people that don't just invest in their superannuation, but invest on the side as well because they're professionals. They've got additional income. They've got disposable income. Now, these people are now sitting there looking at Bitcoin and going, well, I know what Bitcoin is because I watched it. I didn't buy it back then. Well, it doesn't seem that it's going anywhere right now. It seems that it's climbing again. Then you've got people like Peter Brandt coming out and saying, he's in their demographic, right? He's in their demographic. It's going to go to 50,000 is his view. And they started to go, well, tell you what, it didn't die. And from its lows, we're up 95 to 100% in the space of 3-4 months? It's not a long time. These same people, they don't want to buy a raging bull. They're smart.
Exactly. Yeah.
They want to buy a market that seems to be established enough that it's not going to die, and the foundations for which that market was built on is surviving. These are the people that I think are key for our next, trajectory to the upside, trajectory to the upside.
So yeah, in summary, these people don't chase markets, and I think a lot of people have learnt that. And I was in a podcast this morning and talking about how much you learn as a crypto trader because you get to go through these booms and busts versus a stock trader. And now that those people haven't chased and they see Bitcoin as a legitimate asset, they get to get in at 80% down. That's a good entry point. It's asymmetrical, the possibilities versus the possible downside, particularly this week when we see Binance get hacked. That was one of my danger signals in the bearish scenario. Bitfinex and Tether, another one of my danger signals. We've got the congressman coming out today saying we should make Bitcoin illegal in the States. If all this stuff happened when Bitcoin was teetering on 6,000 back in the day, just more things putting downwards pressure. So I think you'd have to agree that we're in a different market. We're not necessarily in a bull market yet, and we might look at the weekly chart in a second, but we're certainly not in that market where everyone's fearful and panicking and selling on every piece of news.
Yeah, it's bullish. And one thing I want to make very clear to you and your subscribers is that, I've been called it like back in July, and I'll say it openly. I said, I'm now officially bullish. That was my tweet. That was my Facebook. That was my whole message. I am now officially bullish. Now, I've got a lot of heat from that. People saying, oh, I remember the time that you said you were officially in a bull market. I'm like, no. Bullish to me as a trader. I am a trader. Let's not forget that I'm not like you, Alex. I'm not out there researching projects and finding strong fundamental reasons as to why they should survive. I'm literally reading charts. So when I say I'm bullish, it means we're in an uptrend on multiple time frames, right? Now, a bull market, I'm never going to call a bull market because that's just not my language. It's not my profession. It's not what I do. But we are more bullish than bearish right now. And one thing that fascinates me is that even since we pushed up through that 4,200 resistance and pushed on to 5,000, 5,500 and those sorts of levels, I had a lot of people saying we're going to go to 32, 45, 47, all these different numbers. Now, that's fine. And I'm not trying to say that they're wrong because they might be right. My job as a trader is not to be right or wrong. It's just to make money when money is available. This market right now, based on my observations around 6,000, based on the lack of selling around those key levels, the influx of media interest and the way the chart's presenting themselves by having a good cyclicity or having very good cyclicity, i.e. the trend is operating the way a strong trend would work.
We touched on that.
Build against the bullish side.
Yeah, we touched on that just before you tuned in about my time cycles and how it's been a steady stair-step higher. So do you want to maybe talk about what would get you more bearish or what has to happen for you to be looking for that downtrend?
Sure. Let's throw it up and let's get rid of that thing. I love looking at this chart. I really, really do. It's been a long time coming, ladies and gentlemen. We're here. Look, for me to be bearish, it's quite simple. I need to see a lower high and a lower low on the daily. But the good thing about the sentiment being bearish, from my view, is it's not just on one time frame. Let's have a look at the weekly here. The weekly higher low, strong buying to smash straight through that 4,200 level. Not only did we smash straight through it, but those couple of weeks, we didn't pull back, guys. A natural progression of a trend is a big move like this would pull back, all right? That is what I trade. That is how I've built my career. It's on the pullback. Literally, it really has been on the pullback. There was no pullback. There was a consolidation. Now we've stepped higher, and admittedly, we are above the 10 and 20 period moving average. I don't use the 200. I don't use the 50. I only use the 10 and 20 because all I'm interested in is not theories, it's action. And action, from my point of view, comes from buy and sell zones. And the 10 and 20 represents that for me. I wouldn't be surprised at all, to see a pullback. I wouldn't. I just wouldn't at all. If I look at the monthly right now, and here's what's really got me pretty positive for where we are now, is that the last time I had 4 bullish monthly candles, and look, this admittedly, we were halfway through the month or not even halfway. This could become down here. It could, but it would take something cataclysmic for that to occur, in my view. If you consider the last time that we saw something like this, where there was multiple monthly candles upwards, it was in the bull market. I say bull market because that's what it was. We had a real reversal of attitude. The very fact that now, when we pull back up into here, and this is why I don't use the golden cross and whatnot, simply because moving averages are derived from price action. They are simply a moving average of price action. So it's very easy to look at a golden cross after the fact and go, well, each time it crosses, it works. But that golden cross might cross 3 or 4 times before the move actually occurs.
Yeah.
Pull back up into here. These moving averages were still bearish, 10 below the 20. I thought, okay, well, if we saw a monthly candle that's set up there, maybe we will see further downside. But we've smashed through that. We've not only smashed through that, we've smashed through it and 6,000. So when you look at the monthly, okay, it's not in an uptrend. You look at the week.
If you can go to that weekly and just zoom out a little bit and maybe take it off the log scale, It's almost the perfect reflection of that Wall Street cheat sheet, and we're right there in that disbelief phase. Now, I think we are going to have some sort of sideways correction pullback. So now's not the time to FOMO, guys. You never want to chase the market when it's looking as green as that.
Yep.
But geez, it's just the perfect ingredients of people that were calling for 1,000, people saying that this could go sideways or lower for years. And then really smart people, good traders are saying, this is a clear uptrend now. There's good volume coming in. There's all these different signs. And the time to short was over the last year. Now is not really the time to be shorting per se.
That was the time to short, guys. I couldn't agree more, mate. And if I may, I'll jump down to the lower time frames and I'll give some perspective as to how I'm trading this market or how I'm looking to trade this market. There's two ways you can trade this market. One, for me personally, I'm waiting for pullbacks. I'm a trend follower. I'll manage my risk. I'll trade with 100 times leverage on BitMix. I couldn't care less. If I'm trading foreign exchange, I can get 300 to 400 times if I want to. It's not a concern. It's about managing your risk. Now, a lot of people look at this chart and go, where's my pullback? Where's my opportunity? Where is my entry? When you go to 1 hour, where is that? When you go to 30 minute, well, where is that? Unfortunately, this candle right here in the cradle zone, I was actually stupidly, not focused enough. I will fall on my sword and say I stuffed up here. I was looking at the Coinbase chart at that point. I didn't take it at all. Bummer, but that's what happens when you have your focus split. But one thing I will say is this. If I come to my margin trading list, well, let's get to the Bitcoin side of it. Okay, no entries on Bitcoin. Fine. We can go with the leverage options that we have available. Okay, not so much Litecoin. We can look for opportunities to profit off of Bitcoin strength against altcoins. Now, a couple of things I will say about Bitfinex, which these are all charts of, is that I will tell you right now that last Monday or Tuesday, there was a period of time where there was very little movement in Bitfinex around the Tether incident and whatnot. I am very, very cautious about how much I hold on Bitfinex right now. I went from having X amount to literally 20% of what I would normally hold on Bitfinex for my trading volume. I've put it in cold storage. I have a little bit of a concern about the risk to the platform, not to my trading, but to the platform. But if you look across here, look, great downtrend, pullbacks, please.
And that's because Bitfinex is the best place to trade a lot of the top 10 or 20 altcoins with good volume and on margin. So as much as everyone likes to rip on it, BitMix only has half a dozen coins. Most of them are Bitcoin pairs, not USD pairs. So there's not a lot of good options out there. Maybe Kraken. Are there any others that you use?
Yeah, Kraken's good. I don't mind Kraken. Honestly, I don't use it that much. And that's just because, I'm kind of like you, 65-year-old father where change comes slowly. It was 6 to 8 months ago, I was still sketchy on BitMix. So I take having the security of trading for the last 2 years have been more or less crypto related, but 11 years, I felt very comfortable trading foreign exchange, bonds, commodity stocks on platforms that I knew had guarantees in place. They had insurance in place, and the government would also insure them as well. I had a real issue with BitMix, but the good thing about, and I'm not going to put an affiliate link up. We don't even have an affiliate link with BitMix. I couldn't care less what you do, but the understanding around BitMix, from my point of view, is that it's got really good volume on Bitcoin, Ripple, and a few others, right? It's got great leveraged options. If I'm going to trade Bitcoin, I'm likely going to trade it on BitMix because what it does.
Mate, do you want to just go back to us while we're talking?
I need less. Sorry.
Do you want to just go back to the shot of just both of us while we're talking?
Sorry. What BitMix does is it allows me to hold less Bitcoin. Now, there's risk that comes in many different facets when you're a trader. One is how much you risk on the trade. Two is how you trade. And three, which is not in your control, but it can be, is the platform that you use. So BitMix, for me, I'm still sketchy as all hell on that platform. I'm sketchy as all hell on all platforms, man. I have real trust issues with crypto. I still do, right? But what I can say is that I can put, if I put 3 or 4 Bitcoin on BitMix, I know that that's my maximum loss because I've read the terms and conditions, and you can only lose what's in your platform. It's not negative equity.
It's another.
So you can put what you're willing to lose and trade from there.
It's another big positive for those whales or high net worth guys that want to put in a lot of money, that they can now go to somewhere that's FDIC insured. They can have custody of their funds, all that sort of thing. So there's just more room for the big money to come in. But I might share my screen again and show you a couple of these coins. So if we go into the hourly chart and we saw, let's take that off, auto, and I will hide my longs versus shorts for you guys. But we want to be
chart, mate.
What's that?
You've had a little one drawing on your chart.
I know there's a lot of mess, but it doesn't mean a lot to me. As you know, I just like to look at what everyone else is looking at.
Right, man.
So when Bitcoin started to have a bit of a profit taking here, we saw that flow into Litecoin, and look at that. Absolutely bang, whatever it is, 6-7% there. And I wasn't necessarily expecting the money to go into Litecoin. I thought we would have seen bigger pumps from the large caps. So, people like to trade Ripple, Misa Go, IOTA, EOS, but it was ADA. And this is one that's been really popular on crypto Twitter lately. And this was another one that's had a pretty big, 10% jump today. So another sign that there was a little bit of profit taking, mainly from, I guess, what I'd consider traders. Because I think you've got to ask yourself, who's selling? If you bought Bitcoin at 3,000, 4,000, you're not really selling and going, geez, that was a great trade. I'm looking at the next 4 years and selling my Bitcoin and hoping that it might pull back to rebuy. If you've picked somewhere near the bottom, I think that's drying up liquidity off exchanges as well.
Well, it kind of depends who you are, though, mate. I mean, look, I think much of the, and as you can see with the market cap, like much of the trading and activity that's going on now is participants, people that are already there. Okay. Now I've watched, because I do my scan every day with my members and whatnot, and I've watched over the last month and a half, 2 months, the alt market really seize up. When Bitcoin was going slowly sideways, that's the best time to build sats, because altcoins do move, because everyone's going, oh, where do we go? What do we do? And they're working, right? They're trying to build sats. They're trying to find opportunities to make money, sats, whatever it may be. When Bitcoin starts to sort of, when its balls drop and it starts to get a deep voice again, and it starts to move, the market takes note of what's going on there. And alts bleed, not necessarily too much against the dollar, although we have seen relatively not too steep decrease in dollar value, but it's about, we see cycles, and I've only been here since 2017 July, but I can still go back and read charts and look at it, and it tends to be Bitcoin gets dominance and off she goes. And I like that. I like that the alts have been bleeding against Bitcoin, and I'll caveat that by saying the reason I like that, Alex, is because if let's say basic attention tokens up 10% in a day, that's not going to get in the Wall Street Journal. That's not going to get in the front page of your newspaper. That's not going to be mentioned on the news. It's when Bitcoin moves that press picks it up. Now, Bitcoin is our mascot for the entire crypto industry. So for me, I'm really happy to see Bitcoin breaking a key level. And I did some research today. I looked around the different news sites. And yes, it is actually being spoken of far more positively than what it was, say, a month or two ago. It's a good thing.
I think what it highlights is a lot of people that don't own any Bitcoin. A lot of people still only own altcoins and really low cap altcoins, whereas I think the money is going to flow into Bitcoin, into the top 10, 20 sort of coins. So would you agree with that?
Yes, I would totally agree with that. And the reason I agree with that is coming back to my first point about the next wave of investor that has a little bit more beans. They're not putting 1,000 or 2,000, and they might start at 4,000 to 10,000 to wet their feet, get used to it, then I'll put 20, 30, 40,000 in. So we're going to see, I believe, a more mature investor entering the market, the ones that realized what Bitcoin was in 2017 was a bubble. And it was. I'm not saying that it's a bubble that will pop and will die. .com was a bubble. Now, the top 5 companies, I think it's only Berkshire Hathaway and Microsoft that aren't tech companies, right? So it's really important to try and think ahead at the demographic that are coming in next, right? So right now, I believe that as we move higher, we will see a more savvy investor. And because there's not a real revenue path as far as reporting for these top 10 goes, there's a reason they're in the top 10. There's a reason they've stayed. Now, I can also say that I've reshuffled over the last 6 months my portfolio. So I do hold majority Bitcoin, but I also hold a couple of altcoins, not many, but a couple. I've restructured my portfolio, and this is obviously certainly not 100% at all financial advice, but I've gone back to that top 10 market because it's visible, it's around, they tend to be well funded, and the next wave that comes in, I truly believe they're not going to be looking for 100x on a little company that they believe in. These are investors. These are seasoned individuals. They need to find something that they can actually sink their teeth into. And if you're outside of the top 100, man, you need to do another raise, and you need to pump some marketing, because if you're outside of the top 100, good luck getting back in.
So I'm working on a couple of videos, guys, asking whether or not it's still possible to turn, $1,000 or 10,000 into $1 million. So, 1,000x is just unheard of in stocks, and 100x I think is still maybe possible. So we're going to talk about that. And another one is what to do if you miss the bottom, because I still think a lot of people are really getting FOMO right now, and now is not the time. So I guess the key things to watch, guys, are look if we're getting overboard on the daily and the weekly time frame, but look where that money flows. Is the total market cap going up or down? Is money actually flowing into altcoins, or is it these whales playing games and the smart traders that are looking to stack their sats and then jump back into Bitcoin for that next cycle? And often I've got messages today, people starting to get that FOMO, and when it feels like you have to go into Bitcoin when you feel like you've missed out, that's often at that point when everyone's jumping in and the smart money's doing the opposite thing.
Yeah, it's, as always, education is the most important thing. And, FOMO will never help you ever since forever. Yes, sure. FOMO can help you when you get in and all of a sudden things go great. But how many people that are watching this right now can honestly say that they sold out a large proportion of their portfolio during that 2017 run? Now, I know because I speak and I engage with the community, and Alex, because you speak and engage with the community, and we've both been a part of that. And because I'm a trader, and this is what I say to people, like, people go, I don't really want to trade that often, so I'm not going to do this or I'm not going to do that. The bottom line is you don't need to be a trader. If you're going to understand the language we speak and what we look out for, man, if I could have done one thing, like I traded Cobb as a business in the education platform wasn't available in 2017 when the market happened. I was trading that. I was exiting at 12,500 and 15,800 with my 2 exit points. Now, of course, it moved much higher, but it took profit. And if you learn nothing else from a trader than what to look out for when it just gets nuts, if you can understand that, look, it can, even if you sold 25% of your holdings at 17,000 or whatever, I guarantee you right now, well, I can't guarantee you, but I would really struggle to find anyone that could say I would have been better off not doing that. So it's about having the understanding of what parabolic looks like, understanding that it won't last, and understanding what an exit point and scaling out may look like. I don't want any of my members or your members, mate, or anyone watching this for that matter, to not do well in the next one. Learn.
Yeah, and so there's certainly people that take profits and buy nice things, but I also know a lot of traders that sold out near the top and have been sitting on those funds waiting to put it back in. So that tells me that I think we're going to those much higher market caps and the new money that's entering as well. So it's about being smart and just taking some chips off the table, but having some sort of strategy or idea, because too many people just see those numbers go green every day and think it's only going to keep going up. I don't have any target. I want to be a millionaire.
Two things that hurt people, and this is the God honest truth that has hurt me plenty of times in my career, and it's greed and it's fear. You're too fearful to get in. You're too greedy to get out.
Yeah.
Manage those two things, at least you got something going for you.
And it's funny, it's when, definitely lessons that I've learned, it's when you don't make money a priority. And we were speaking about this the other day as well with business and everything else. Once you're comfortable and money doesn't mean everything to you, it's actually less pressure and you're going to make better decisions.
But even if money does mean something to you, regardless of whether you've got wealth and you don't care if you lose $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 or $1 million or $10 million, I truly believe it to get to the position of being comfortable, not many people get there by dumb luck. Like I watch crypto and I'm I say all the time, like I'm more than happy for the people that literally dumb luck made them rich. And that's fantastic, and I'm so happy for that, as long as it empowers them and changes their life for a positive. Because there's a lot of ways that you can go downhill when you come into a lot of money for doing 3/5 of F4, right?
Yeah.
It's about understanding how to make it and then how to keep it. You can get rich quick, but those that get rich quick often lose it just as quick.
They don't know what to do with it. They don't know how to save it, how to invest it. They spend it all. There's so many things that go against you. You have to have this as part of your journey and a plan, and that's going to be a big focus of us on the channel and obviously in our members area, about being surrounded by good people to make good decisions. So we've got nearly 500 watching, Cobb.
Wow.
If you want to go back over just your general thoughts quickly on where we are on the daily, what sort of pullbacks you might be looking to. But as I said, guys, I want to do this in great detail in a future video, because I know it's a question on everyone's lips. But let us know in the comments, guys, if you feel like you missed out, if you feel like you should buy the dip, or you haven't got enough, or did you hodl?
Yeah, sure. So look, I think the best way to do it is to just recap by suggesting my theory, and it's only a theory, is that the people that weren't involved through 2017 that had a bit more money were familiar with the fact of a boom and bust market, and they've stayed out. Nowadays, as the market has recovered, and let's have a look at this right now. You know, we've hit 3,200 roughly, or whatever it was. There you go. There's the low on XBT. We've pretty much 95 to 100% return. Now that gives faith back to smart, intelligent investors looking for opportunities in other markets. Now, whether that be 1, 5, 3, or 10% of the managed portfolio, I think we've got their eyeballs again. Now, based on that, I'm trading based on what I see. Now, if I throw this up to you right now, I'm talking short term at the minute. I am literally sitting in my office right now waiting for a pullback. 6,100 would be ideal. Why 6,100? Let me throw in a bit of Fibonacci and let's see what matches up there. It might not, but I think it will get close. So 50% bang in there. Now, the problem we've got is that we come from all the way back here. Let's see if we can get a fib combination. No, it's not there. So for me right now, it's about focusing on pullbacks. Now, on these pullbacks, I will be managing my risk to a fraction of what I normally would. I haven't got the conviction just yet to go too balls deep and too heavy. If I got a pullback into here in the cradle zone and got a trading opportunity with this convergence, I would probably risk 0.25 to 0.5% of my portfolio account, knowing full well that it might move lower, but I'll risk that. I'll scale out at 1-to-1. So let's have a $50 stop when it moves $50 plus cost. So call it 55 because it's quite expensive trading these markets. I will halve my position, meaning I can't make a loss. Let the thing run, trail my stops. But bigger picture, which I think is really important to understand, is that I would love to see, you know, I don't tend to trade too much over weekends because I've got 2 young kids and, you know, a life. Not to say that if you trade over the weekends, you don't have one, guys. But I'd love to see us push on to 66. Get us up to around about here, because at that point, a pullback to 6,000 would be 10%. A 10% pullback would be tasty. A trade off of 6,000 could be the kiss of death for the bears. I'm just focusing right now on not being emotional, not FOMOing, and sticking to the strategies that I work with. Second message to that is that if you can't find your trade on Bitcoin, go to your margin pairs, guys. There is plenty of opportunity with downtrends currently in play. I am not going to buy Litecoin against Bitcoin. If I see a short, I'm sure as hell going to short it. And if I just take you through real quick, look at this. Downtrend, 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 downtrend. These are margin trading pairs that we have access to. Find good downtrends, because if you're shorting, say, a Misa Go against Bitcoin, you are effectively buying Bitcoin. And for me, that is where I'm focusing my attention. I see Bitcoin strength. I'll trade Bitcoin strength however I can get it.
Thanks for the donation, Sparked, as well. It all adds up. $6. I'll buy a Cobb a beer next time I'm up in Sydney. But I think the key takeaways for people today are we've had a tremendous run from the bottom. If you've got in and you've been dollar cost averaging or trading, fantastic. But now is not the time. If you're a bit of a newbie thinking, geez, I have to buy Bitcoin, now is the time when we're likely to see sideways or a bit of a pullback. And it's about that altcoin market cap, the total market cap, seeing where the money's flowing, if there's new people coming into the space. But the thing that I'm still a bit excited about is how high those shorts are. If we keep just trending higher and the shorts keep trending higher, that's the perfect ingredients for that short squeeze up to maybe say 7,000. And as you say, back to the old, support last year, resistance this year, acting as support again. So that would be very exciting to see. And everyone wants to buy this dip. I just get that feeling that everyone wants it to go to 4,000 to load up again. And when everyone wants something to happen, there's normally too many buyers.
Good luck.
Any final thoughts for people at home, Craig?
Yeah, final thought is trade your plan, stick to the trend, but also one significant thing coming back to what you were saying, mate, is look at the total market cap, look at the dominance of Bitcoin. If the total market cap starts to increase, it's a pretty good sign that new money is coming in. And when new money comes in, we all know it, it tends to go to Bitcoin first and then moves. So if the total market cap starts to increase heavily, I see Bitcoin as being our best option for trading and investing, however we want to flip the coin. And just being aware of those sorts of things, because if the money doesn't flood in, if we don't see new participants, I think we must be getting close to 200 billion now. If we don't see the number of new participants or new money coming in, then just be aware that it is the current market moving around. New money is effectively not dumb money. It's just new money. They don't understand what we understand. They don't know what we know. It can be good or bad, but I'm keeping a very close eye on that.
I think there's plenty of new people joining this space as well, as we've seen in the groups and on social media. So good place to end. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. Let's see if we can get a bit of an alt season this weekend if we get money flowing into alts, but don't FOMO and chase the market.
Trade well, trade safe, and be good.
Thanks,
or
guys.
bad.